Él es spooky. Hello, friends, and welcome back to LS Spooky. I'm your host, Soul Rack, the Innocent. Tonight, we continue on our quest into the world of the paranormal. I have another selection of videos to investigate and analyze. We're going to see if we can apply some logic to them and debunk them, or if they truly are paranormal. So why don't you sit back and relax and enjoy yourselves as we continue on our quest into the world of the paranormal. LS Spooky. Tonight's first video comes from LRon2532 on Reddit. Now this video here, the person that posted this thinks that this might actually be some sort of spiritual orb. But if we examine it carefully, the likelihood is that this is just a bug that has landed in front of the camera, and it gives it that shape because the camera cannot focus. I know people get excited when they see videos like this, but if we just apply a little bit of logic, we come to the conclusion that it is a bug. But what do you think? A bug or spiritual orb? The following video comes from UFOs WW on Reddit. The caption from the person that posted this video said that they captured something flying in the sky. But could this actually be a UFO? Or is there something more terrestrial? What do you think? Let's investigate. Looking at it closer, this would not be a human drone. So what else could this possibly be? It is very interesting. However, I don't believe that this might actually be a UFO. If we look at the footage more carefully, I think that we can actually ascertain as to what this is. Here we have the footage in a more close-up. If we look at it carefully, what I believe this actually is it's more than likely a really long cylindrical balloon that has lost a lot of its gas and has deflated a lot and has been caught in the atmosphere by the winds, and it's been carried off, and it gives it this really strange snake-like appearance, because if we can see it here. This no, I don't believe that this is actually a UFO. I think that the likelihood is that this is just a balloon or a bunch of spherical balloons that have been caught in the atmosphere, and it's making it move in this interesting fashion. But that this is an actual UFO, I don't believe so. But I could be wrong. But of course, I will let you decide for yourself. However, personally, I believe that there is a more terrestrial explanation for what we are seeing here on the screen. As I stated before, I believe this to be nothing more than cylindrical balloons that have been caught in the atmosphere. But what do you think? Do you think that this is possibly a UFO or some sort of unidentified creature that has been caught in the atmosphere? Or do you think that it is what I think it is? I think this is nothing more than some spherical balloons. But what do you think? The following video comes from Kiad2909 on Reddit. This video here is of another orb sighting. Now, I find this video very interesting because I cannot explain it correctly. If we see it here slowed down in slow motion, it does not look like this would be a bug. It's very fascinating because it doesn't move in your typical bug-like fashion, and we also can't see wings. Fascinating. Could this actually be legitimate orbs? Very interesting, don't you think? But what do you think? Do you think that there is a logical explanation for this? Or is this just orbs? Personally, I think that this actually might be a legit orb video, but I'll let you decide. The following video comes from Beginning Wealth 181 on Reddit. According to the uploader of this video was taken somewhere over the skies of Mexico. Unfortunately, it doesn't say where it was taken in Mexico. It just says that it was taken in the skies of Mexico. The video is very interesting, but a little bit too perfect if you ask me. Could this possibly be footage from some sort of school project or an independent film project? Could this actually be footage from a film that we are just not aware of? It is a possibility, but the possibility is also there that this is a legitimate UFO sighting. It is very interesting. A little probe-like thing comes out of the main one. It flies around it, and then it seems to dock at the back of the bigger machine-like thing. Very fascinating. In your opinion, do you think that what we're looking at here is real? I personally would like to believe that it is, but I am not convinced yet. As much as I would personally like this footage to be real, I'm still not 100% convinced. I think that the likelihood that what we're seeing here is some sort of school project, some sort of footage from a film that hasn't been released or a low-budget film, or footage from a TV show or something that we're just not aware of just yet. However, there is the slight possibility that what we're seeing is actually real. But I'll let you decide for yourself. Do you think that this is actual UFO footage, or that this is just a clever hoax? Leave your comments below and let us discuss. Our next video comes from Zelocidal Art 8526 on Reddit. This footage here is very fascinating. We see something that comes out from the far wall there behind the door, but if we also look carefully, we see what appears to be an orb that manifests from one of the doors and wisps across the screen. It's very interesting. do you think that this could be possibly real? Is this really an apparition, some sort of spirit coming through the wall? It is very fascinating. I don't know how to explain this properly, at least logically. I think that what we're seeing here is legitimate footage of something spiritual. Very fascinating. I'll let you decide what you think, but I think that what we're seeing here is legitimate. What do you think though? Ghosts or something else? Well friends, we've reached the halfway point of another video. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and leave a like to the video. Our next video comes from Sabaku no Sino on Reddit. This footage here is very interesting. It appears to show string-like orbs that are just moving across the floor. It is very fascinating, and I don't think that what we're seeing here would actually be explainable by saying that it's mice or insects or anything like that. The reason why I am very inclined to believe this type of footage is because in my own personal experience, I have seen things like this up close and personal. Where I used to work in the past, I used to work as a youth worker in a youth jail. And in the security footage, while I was just working, I would be watching the cameras because that was part of the job. And on the night shift, sometimes you would see things like this. And me not being afraid of anything, I would go and investigate them for myself. And I would never actually see anything in person. But on the camera, you can see it clearly. And it didn't happen just once, it happened several times. And it looked exactly like this, which was very interesting. Because at first I did think that maybe what I was seeing was rodents or some sort of bug infestation. But it happened too often, and I would go and investigate, and there was never any evidence of anything physical or physically there. So I could never explain it. Personally, I think that what we're seeing here, and what I, from my own personal experience, was that it was some sort of spiritual manifestation or spiritual activity. It was very interesting. But what do you think? Do you think that this is a possibility, or do you think that is some sort of camera malfunction? From personal experience and having seen things like this in my personal life, I am inclined to believe this footage, but only because I have experience with it. But what do you think? Do you think this is real, or is there another explanation? Have you personally seen anything like this before? When you've seen footage from your security cameras or anything, or anywhere that you have worked in the past. Very fascinating though. Our next video comes from Bigfoot Love 2575 on Twitter. Now this footage here is interesting. I don't know if this would be real or not, but good lord, this is exactly why I don't go into the woods, especially at night. Even if this footage isn't of a legitimate Bigfoot, what exactly could it be? A person in a costume? Why on earth would there be a person in a costume wandering around in the dark in the forest? Of course, it could always be a hoax, and that's what we're looking at. But even still, can you imagine yourself wandering around in the woods and then encountering either a real Bigfoot or a man in a costume, what would you do? Oh my goodness. No. Whether this is real or not, it is enough reason for me to stay out of the woods at night. But what about yourself? Do you go for nightly hikes in the dark woods? Is that something that you do? Is that something that you would be brave enough to do? I know that in my case, the answer would be no. Well, this is why I don't go hiking at night, ever. Well, aside from that, it's dangerous. But, yeah, you might run into one of these things. Bigfoot. No. Thank you. Our next video comes from El Alienista Doc on Twitter. This footage here is very interesting. People are not able to explain what it is properly. However, I do have one hypothesis. What we are looking at here is a natural phenomenon called ball lightning. Unfortunately, ball lightning hasn't been proven by science completely. Although it has been reported again and again by many people and has been recorded like this oftentimes, but science has not been able to prove it, yet a lot of people think that this is just a naturally occurring phenomenon, which science hasn't explained properly just yet. It doesn't mean that it won't, it's just that it hasn't yet. How exactly ball lightning works, like I said before, has not been proven by science, but it might have something to do with plasma in the atmosphere, however that works. Fascinating as this may be, I will let you decide for yourself if you believe in this phenomenon or if you think that this is just a clever hoax. Personally, I think that there are a lot of things in this world that we have not explained that are naturally occurring. But what do you think? Do you think that this is some sort of clever hoax, or that this is just a natural phenomenon, the phenomenon called ball lightning? Well, friends, this concludes another video. I hope that you were pleasantly entertained. Some of these videos, well, I mean, some of them are truly paranormal and some of them, well, they're not, right? But that's the way that these things are. You have to be able to investigate, you have to be able to apply logic, and you have to be able to see if these things actually stand the scrutiny of logic, and that's where the problem often comes, right? Anyways, my friends, thank you for joining, and I will see you here again next time for another episode of LS Spooky. I've been your host, Soul Rack the Innocent. Until next time, take care.